The Rowrah circuit in Cumbria brings you the 2019 FAB-Racing British Mini Bikes Championship, round number 7 of the series, and the LC40 Elites are lining up on the grid. Johnny Garness will lead from pole position, your championship leader, ahead of his rival Mason Foster. Clayton Edmonds will be next up on bike 146 ahead of the 66 of Ronnie Harris. The number 72 of Samuel Munson fist bumping the man alongside him, 100 of Cameron Sewell on the grid. Charlie Huntingford will be next up on bike number 76 ahead of Kobe Perry. Holly Harris on bike 15 is in 9th ahead of Warwick Brady, rounding out your top 10. Greg Marshall will be in 11th, and then rounding out the runners and riders for the start of the LC40 Elite. Race number 1 here from Rowrah is Keaton Payne. So the championship can be won today by the number 57 of Johnny Garness, bouncing up and down on his bike, getting himself pumped up for today's action. If Johnny Garness wins the race and Mason Foster doesn't finish, he will become the LC40 Elite champion for 2019. If Mason Foster finishes above 12th position, then the championship will roll on to Sunday's races 2 and 3 tomorrow. Now the marshals are stepping off the grid. The revs are rising. Garness and Foster look at each other. The red lights come on. And who will it be as he set away? It's Garness with a brilliant start. And from 3rd position, Clayton Edmonds slots back into 3rd after a powerful start from row number 2. Mason Foster in between them both in 2nd. So everyone clean away. A bit of a move for 3rd position. That was Samuel Munson on bike 72, looking up the inside of the 146 of Clayton Edmonds. There's less than 10 laps of this race to run, and who will it be in towards Iredales? It still seems to be Johnny Garness leading the way ahead of his championship rival Mason Foster. There's 103 points between them in the championship going into this race. Still 150 points to play for in this series. So as they complete lap number 1 in a few moments time, heading in towards the final corner, it's still Johnny Garness leading the way ahead of Mason Foster. These two have opened up a bit of an advantage ahead of Edmonds and Munson, who come across the line in 3rd and 4th. Cameron Sewell, great start from 6th position, is up to 5th spot. Ronnie Harris is dropped back a few positions outside the top 5. But Johnny Garness and Mason Foster, the class of the field in 2019, the only two to have won a race, barring Samuel Munson, who won race number 3 last time out at Wilton Mill. Only 3 race winners of the LC40 Elite Championship in 2019 for the moment. The number 19 of Greg Marshall holding off the likes of Holly Harris. Great start from Greg Marshall, coming from 11th on the grid, moved inside the top 10, but pounding around the outside is Holly Harris down towards Stuart, and brilliant run out of the turn number 5. Iredales seemed to get the power down a little bit better and seemed to carry a better line on to the back straight, and she now moves back inside the top 10. This is a battle going on further down the field, but I can tell you the battle for 1st and 2nd is opening up ever so slightly. Johnny Garness has opened up a small advantage over Mason Foster, but we have seen this happen so many times in 2019, and Mason Foster runs a bit wide at Iredales. Has he lost a big advantage? Yes, he has. He seems to have dropped back even further to Johnny Garness. It was a couple of bike lengths. It seems to have doubled since Foster's mistake into the turn 5 hairpin of Iredales. A very tricky corner indeed, and that has let Johnny Garness off the hook for the rest of this race. But I was about to say, we have seen this so many times in 2019 where Garness opens up a lead at the start of the race, and then Mason Foster just chips away ever so slightly and seems to close that gap back up. Further behind them in 3rd and 4th position is Clayton Edmonds and Samuel Munson. Clayton Edmonds showing a very strong ride in 3rd spot at the moment. Cameron Sewell on a very nice light blue and yellow sort of cameo coloured bike, the way he's been all season long. Very distinguishable out there on the circuit, and he's just ahead of the 76 of Charlie Huntingford hunting down Cameron Sewell as they make their way up to turn 5 of Iredales on lap number 3. But no doubt who our race leader is. It's our championship leader, the person that has won most of the races in 2019. Only 3 races he hasn't won. That's when Mason Foster picked up 2 of them, and Samuel Munson won last time out at Wilton Mill. Now, if it stays as it is, Johnny Garness will increase his lead in the championship to 108 points going into tomorrow's action, races 2 and 3. So there will be 125 points left on the board after today's race, but that doesn't matter for the moment, because Foster has just set the new fastest lap of the race to catch back up to Johnny Garness. Johnny Garness will feel Mason Foster breathing down his neck as they make their way down towards the far end of the circuit into the Stewart S's, which is usually an S's for go-karts around here, but for the mini motos and all the cool fab paddock, it's a double right-hander, much nicer corner as they make their way down towards turns 8, 9 and the final corner of turn 10. That's Paddock Bend, and the sun is shining here today, but the wind is high, not blowing these mini motors around as much as the wind would like to hope, but putting in a great performance and holding onto these machines. The wind is high and it can be very tough, with potentially the wind lifting up the front wheel as you brake hard going into a corner, but no such issues yet for these LC40 Elite runners and riders, and no such issues for our championship contenders. Garness on 57, Foster on number 88. Who will it be into the final few laps of this race? There always seems to be a bit of an advantage at one section of the circuit for Garness and then another for Mason Foster. Garness is very quick into the tight corners. Mason Foster is very fast through the fast and flowing section of the circuit and down the straight. Potentially have the bikes set up a little bit differently to each other, and will have different riding styles to accommodate that as well. So moving on to another lap, they go through the chicane, powering down the hill, down towards McRae's corner, the tight left-handed hairpin. Johnny Garness runs a little bit wide on exit. That gives Foster an opportunity to close back up again. He has done up towards Iredale's. They go with the tight right-hander at the top of the hill. A bit of a banking in the middle of it, which helps the bikes round the corner, already putting a lap on the back of the field of Keaton Payne on bike number 12. So Keaton Payne running in 12th spot at the moment. Thankfully, we still have all of our runners and riders in this race. Approaching Holly Harris just in front of them. A bit of movement from Johnny Garness's bike as he rolls over the bumps through the turn at number 8, St. John's, and into Paddock Bend. Catching the back marker where he doesn't want him. That is the number 19 of Greg Marshall. Not Holly Harris, but number 19 of Greg Marshall. They're putting a lap on for the moment. Only a few more corners to go for Johnny Garness. A few more laps to go for Johnny Garness. Can Mason Foster do anything about his rival, or will it be Garness who will take the checkered flag and increase his championship lead going into tomorrow's actions, races 2 and 3? There's a rider pulling off the edge of the circuit. That seems to be Holly Harris. Shame for Holly. She was running nicely inside the top 10, but our only rider that is out of the race is the number 15. But Garness still holding the advantage for the moment, nearly running over the curb coming out of Stewart's, pounding down the hill down towards St. John's, turn number 8, flicking it left in towards turn number 9. The left-hander Mason Foster all over the back of Johnny Garness in towards the final corner to go. That is Paddock Bend, and there's no gap between them, and they're coming across the start-finish line now to complete another lap, final lap of the race. Mason Foster will be looking to make a move on Johnny Garness. Garness will be looking to make his bike as wide as possible, and he has done, going defensive into turn number 4 of McRae's. Runs a little bit wide, nearly over the curb. This gives Foster the chance up the inside into Iredale's. He hasn't done it, backing off, looking for his chance somewhere else around the circuit. He is very quick down the straight into Stewart's. Gaining on the back of Johnny Garness is Foster on bike number 88. A few more corners remaining for these two, your championship contenders. Garness, as it stands, will not become champion today. It will roll on to tomorrow, but Foster doing everything he can. Garness has opened up a few bike lengths of advantage. Holly Harris walks away, but one more corner to go. Paddock Bend, it's Johnny Garness. Can Foster come across the line? And Foster, no he can't. Garness takes the checkered flag in front of Mason Foster. As close as you like, only a tenth and a half in it. And further back, we will be waiting for Charlie Huntingford to take third position, or will it be Samuel Munson? Across the first line to come, it's Clayton Edmonds who takes your podium position. Great result there for the 146 of Edmonds, holding off and pulling away from Samuel Munson. Johnny Garness shakes his head in disbelief that he managed to win another race here in the LC40 Elite class. Wow, what a last couple of quarters. There wasn't a lot of action in it, but the tension was building up, and Garness knows that all he will have to do tomorrow is finish inside the top 8, and he will become the 2019 LC40 Elite champion. He now heads into tomorrow's action 108 points ahead of Mason Foster. There is only 125 points remaining, but if he finishes inside the top, if he finishes inside the top 2, not the top 8, he will become champion in race number 2 tomorrow. So there will be 5 more races to go. Not a lot of pressure, but Johnny Garness, your championship leader, takes the race win here today.